Hey Blazers, this episode is brought to you by Audible.com, an Amazon company. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/Blaze Entertainment.
Or visit the sponsor and supporters links on our website at entertheblaze.com. With over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now let's start the show.
What's going on, Blazers? We are back with another episode of Blaze Entertainment. I'm your host, Blaze Entertainment Spotlight Edition. I'm your host, Kwame, joined by the beautiful, the melanin proficient, the queen of Blaze, Miss Free. What's going on, girl?
Not much, happy it's Friday.
Yes! Come on, Friday! It's been a week, child. It's been a week.
Yep.
Whew! Man. Anyway, we are so blessed, so excited to have this amazing professional entrepreneur, chief noisemaker of Media Mavericks Academy, Miss TeeJ Mercer. How are you, ma'am?
Let's make some noise.
Yes.
Noise. As you can tell, I'm good. I don't know about y'all, but I'm good.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being on.
You for having me. I'm excited to come play with you and Miss Free.
the pleasure is all ours. I implore you on that. Tell us for those who don't know anything about Media Mavericks Academy or you, please just kind of give us a brief synopsis of who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Okay, so I actually am known as the chief noisemaker of Media Mavericks Academy, and Media Mavericks Academy was formed because I started noticing that many people who were like authors and experts and coaches and entrepreneurs and business owners and professionals, they wanted media exposure, but they seem to think that they needed to have a high-priced publicist. They think they needed to be a celebrity. They think they needed to have insider connections. When the fact of the matter is, they didn't need to have a publicist. They didn't need to be a celebrity. However, they did need at least one insider connection, and that's me. Because I spent 20 years working on some of the biggest shows on television, Extra, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, The Bachelor, Swamp People, My Cat from Hell, LA Hair, R&B Divas. So my resume of credits is quite diverse. And I now, through the Media Mavericks Academy, I teach, professionals and experts and authors how to either book themselves and crush the interview, or in my top tier program, I actually build a guaranteed publicity tour for my clients. So in either case, you're going to come out of this getting more exposure with not nearly the amount of a publicist.
Yes. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm pretty awesome. I'm pretty awesome.
I mean, let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? Okay, toot that horn.
Okay, because let me tell you something. This is the one thing that I teach all of my Mavericks. That one of my business coaches at the beginning of me starting this entrepreneur journey, her name is Lisa Nichols, and I'm sure some of your listeners really know Lisa, but Lisa is, author of Chicken Soup for the African American Soul, the No Matter What. She is the first personal development company that went public. And so she told me that I needed to just get comfortable in the duality of the duality of my existence. And what she meant by that is, clearly there are some things that I suck at, and that's okay. But there are some things that I'm really good at, and I need to be in beast mode about that. I don't back down from that. I don't make apologies about that, because I teach my clients, I know I'm the solution to somebody's problem. I know I'm the answer to somebody's prayer. So I have a responsibility to make some noise about it.
Oh,
so you will never hear me. Yes. Then that comes from anyone. That comes to, I mean that for anyone who's listening. When you know that people are losing sleep because of what you have to offer them and you sitting on the solution, that ain't the time to play small. That is the time to make some noise and let people know you exist. And so when I show up, I'm showing up letting you know I am a beast in these media streets. I don't apologize for that. Now, if you try to actually get me to do some domestic chores and laundry and vacuuming, I suck. I'm okay with that. I'm going to stand in my lane of expertise, and that's media.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So can you walk us through a timeline? Like, how did you get started being a media coach and a booker?
Okay, so like I said, I spent, the first from 1994 when I came out of Howard University till 2015. I was a TV editor, award-winning TV editor. I earned an Emmy on one of the shows that I worked on, and I I had this secret that no one really knew, and that was because I was a battered wife. And my husband almost killed me several times. And no one knew this secret, that while I was holding it down in Hollywood, I was being held down in my own home. And I finally got the courage to leave and started putting my life back together. And God gave me an assignment to write a book that is called 40 Days Till 40. I was getting ready to turn 40. And that book kind of took on a whole life of its own. And it was the first inkling that I saw that God was actually, changing what my life was to be about. And I did some media around that book. I went home to Jackson, Tennessee, and I did some media, and I blew my interviews. I completely blew it. Blew it. I mean, no one showed up for my book signing, really, for, not to match the amount of media that I had done. No one was showing up for my speaking engagement, and it was devastating. Like, I don't know about y'all or your listeners, I got an ego, and that crushed my ego.
I hear that.
So I'm sure that's not you, Kwame, and that's not you, Miss Free. I'm sure y'all don't have egos, but my ego was hurt. And I was like, I got to figure out what I did wrong. What did I do wrong? And I realized that one of the things I did wrong is I forgot I wasn't a celebrity. It's celebrities that can actually show up and promote their book. They can promote their film. They can promote their album. But everyday people have to show up to serve. And so, once I figured that out, then the sky was the limit. I took off and started nailing interviews. And then I had friends that were asking me, like, well, how did you do it? How did you book it? And then I told one friend, she was like, girl, you going to turn it into a program and you going to sell it. And I'm going to post on Facebook that you got a new program coming out and I'm your first client and everybody else got to get behind me. And so as a result of that, Media Mavericks Academy was born, and it has just evolved. We turn 2 next month, and I am so freaking excited because I ain't want to ever be nobody's entrepreneur. I was good with, being a TV editor, no one knowing my name except the people who needed to know. And I was happy that I didn't have to sign the back of checks. I mean, I didn't have to sign the front of checks, that I was only responsible for signing the back of checks. And because this entrepreneur thing, it ain't for the faint of heart.
I hear that.
But
that's the truth.
Again, it's one of those things. I know I have the solution to people's problems, so then I have to show up and play big.
Say that. Yes, ma'am. Amen. You dropping gems today, ma'am.
Preach.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I immediately, and I'm sure our listeners, our Blazers immediately noticed when you got on the show is your excitement, your joy, your happiness when you came on the show and for what you do. So my question to you is what do you most enjoy about what you do?
Well, as a TV editor, imagine like a 10 by 10 room. Like as a TV editor, I'm responsible for all the footage that needs to be pared down. So for instance, one show could have 100 hours worth of footage that needs to be pared down into, a 42-minute episode. And so I work alone, and I didn't have to talk to anybody. Some days I would show up to work in my pajamas because nobody would see me. And yet I still would somehow attract people to me. I would end up having to kick my producers out of my edit bay because they just wanted to talk to me because, my room was full of zen, if that they would say. But when God started pulling me out, and making me more visible, I realized that I just love serving people. There's nothing that gives me greater joy than when my Mavericks are excited about interviews that they're doing, or I'm coaching them on their soundbite training and getting them ready for their interview. And there's just something about it that I just love. I love seeing. I'll be very honest with you. I wake up, my mantra for my life, I wake up every day asking God, show me how I can be a SAP. And SAP means somebody's answered prayer. And so when I get to work with my clients, it really is almost just more for me than for them, because I don't know who has more fun. And to see them progress and grow and get out there and get exposure, and then they post on Facebook of their traction to their website has doubled as a result of something that I do. Man, there's no better feeling, Kwame. It really isn't. It's no better feeling.
I hear that.
Right.
Yes.
So you're speaking about your Media Mavericks. Can you share with our audience like a few secrets about getting booked in the media?
Yeah. Okay. So how about I dish 3? Is that good?
Okay. Yeah, 3 is good.
Okay.
3 is perfect.
So the first one I teach is be a guest first. And what I mean by that is, when you're looking at, like, I get people all the time asking, they want to be on Steve Harvey, and I've had a couple clients on Steve Harvey. They want to be on Good Morning America, the Today Show, or Rachel Ray, or The Real. Each one of these shows, usually, if you go to their website, they'll tell you what kind of guest they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And you go on the site and see what you qualify for. And then if you get chosen, then in preparation for the segment, the producers are working hand in hand with you. So you start developing a relationship. So once you have that relationship, you can then slide them a pitch and tell them about your expertise. So for example, one of my Mavericks, her name is Tara Kennedy Klein. She's an amazing parenting expert. She submitted to be on Dr. Oz when they were looking for, people who lose weight on vacation. So when she called me to tell me that she had landed, as just a regular guest, he wasn't talking to her about her lane of expertise as parenting. And I told her, here's what I want you to do. And I told her exactly what to do. This is what I want you to pitch. This is what I want you to say. This is when I want you to say it. So apparently she did what I told her, because she called me after she did the tape and was like, oh my God, they wanted to talk to me. I did what you said, and they want to talk to me on the show. So it absolutely works if you do it right. It's possible. That's how you can get closer to the slide to the producers in a short amount of time. The second thing I wanted to talk about is, it's all about the pitch. It's all about the pitch. About the pitch. No stutter. It's all about the pitch. About the pitch. No stutter. So okay, y'all know I'm crazy. Y'all should have known that when you invited me. So
I'm all about it. I'm all about this.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so pitch is an acronym, and I teach quite often in acronyms. So pitch, the P is position it properly. You have to find the right angle of approaching the media. And when you're looking at doing the national shows, as an expert, not as going on a guest like I just talked about, the national shows are gonna want to see that you've done local media. So you've done your local ABC, your local NBC, CBS, and Fox. You want to show that you've done it in other places, because that means that you can handle yourself on television. So when you start looking at where to pitch, you want to look at in these local markets of where you fit as a brand. So I is investigate the landscape. That means go and start doing your homework. Do these shows, when you're looking at the ABC and the NBC and the CBSs and the Foxes, do they have guests? What kind of guests do they talk about? Are they more of a hard news station, meaning They don't have guests. They just deliver the news. That's it. That's all. They don't have any other guest experts or anything like that. So you have to investigate the landscape. And the T is time it, meaning you have to know, depending on the platform or what, the platform of media, what's their lead time of when they're looking for pitches. So for instance, on the national landscape, it could either be, if something has gone viral, if something has really happened in the news, it could be instantaneous. But for the most part, they're booking guests like a month to 2 months ahead, sometimes 2 weeks. When you're looking at the local markets, your local markets are looking at 2 weeks, sometimes a week, if it's not a breaking news story. If you're looking at radio can vary. So these are the things that you need to know. And these are all the things that I teach in Media Mavericks Masters, my group coaching program, of really how to time it so that you position your pitch in the right amount, in the right framework of time. And then C is craft, bless you, is craft your pitch.
Thank you.
Meaning you've got to make it noteworthy. You've got to make it attention grabbing. It's not about just, I want to come on and talk about my book. It's got to grab their attention. It's got to serve their viewers. If you go back to what I said, one of my first mistakes was I didn't serve the viewers on my initial interview. You've got to figure out how to serve the viewers. And then H is hook 'em. So think of the hook as what that email subject line is. So we are inundated with emails, right? And so when you glance at the subject line, you determine immediately, is this going to be an email I'm going to open, or I'm going to skip over it and maybe I'll come back to it? You've got to make sure that you write such a powerful hook that producer can't help but open that email to find out more.
Yes.
So that's pitch. And then the third thing is probably one of my biggest secrets that can catapult you to the next level immediately. And that's a term called newsjacking. Newsjacking is not something I created. It was created or coined by a man named David Meerman Scott. He's a PR guru. And it pretty much, he has a fancy definition for it, but my twist on it is, when you look at what's happening in the news, when you look at what's trending on social media, how do you insert yourself into the conversation? So let me show you what that looks like. So I have one of my Mavericks. Y'all remember back when Kanye West, I think it was sometime like last year, Kanye West went on Twitter to ask Mark Zuckerberg to help him with his debt.
Right. I
remember that? Okay. So one of my Mavericks wrote an article about what not to do, how not to sell from Kanye West or something like that. I forget the title. It was picked up by Huffington Post.
Oh.
And so then I have one of my private clients is a leadership coach and who pretty much works with women. And when President Trump met with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau from Canada, they had that summit about women in the workforce. So I immediately sent out a pitch to different networks on how women can break through the glass ceiling in a Trump presidency. She got booked immediately.
I see.
You getting it, Miss Bree?
Yeah, I get you.
That's newsjacking. You want to watch what's trending, what's happening, and then you've got to be ready to pounce.
Right.
So you've got to be a guest first. It's all about the pitch, and then newsjacking are the three tips I would say immediately for the time we have.
Yes.
So that was sweet. That was perfect.
Now I wanted to ask
I'm over
you,
here taking notes.
Right? I wanted to ask you about, a lot of our we get a lot of listener letters every week, and unfortunately we're unable to read all of them, but some of them, that Miss Free reads, I get a lot of what's the word? self-confidence issues, introverts, and stuff like that. So that's a very real thing, especially when you have platforms like this, whether it be podcasting, YouTubing, just being in the media like yourself. You have to have a very powerful presence, especially if you want to, command an audience and you want to, captivate an audience. And so what about those who are introverts? What would you say you would do to help them with putting themselves out there?
That's a great question, Kwame. So one of the things that I impress on all my Media Mavericks and my noisemakers, I have two separate groups. I have who I call my Noisemaker Squad, and those are the people who are not quite ready to do media, but they like being around TeeJ and they know they're called to do something, but they're trying to, get up the courage. So we have a Facebook group called the Noisemaker Squad. And so I have a lot of introverts in the Noisemaker Squad who are finding their voice. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I tap into to really get them to come out of their shell is I ask them a very simple question. What will happen to the person who you're sitting on the solution for their problem? And they get real introspective. Mm-hmm. Like if you don't find your voice sooner than later, how much is it costing the people that God has uniquely equipped you to serve? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What will happen if you stay quiet? What will happen? Let's say you are a homeschooling expert. What will happen to that mom who's overwhelmed and frustrated by the state of her low-income school that's doing a disservice to her kid, and she wants to homeschool, but she don't even know where to start? Mm-hmm. And if you don't show up on ABC in your city or NBC in your city or CBS in your city, and you sitting on the answer to help her, how much sleep is she going to lose? How much are you impacting her child's future because you won't go find your voice? Mm-hmm. And usually they tap into that and they like, you know what? I got to figure some stuff out.
Like, you know what? You right.
Yeah, I got to get right and actually stop hiding. And let me just say this, Kwame, one of the things, because my background is television, I speak about television quite a bit. However, you and I and Miss Free are recording this on audio. Y'all can't see me.
Right.
I'm sitting here with my notes in front of me.
Right.
You don't have to start in TV.
Exactly.
Find your voice on smaller things, podcasts, radio. It's less pressure. Our interview is, what are we doing? An hour interview? How long are we going to be together?
Probably a few more minutes. We're running low on time. But...
Okay. Well, that's my point. But you've given me half an hour, basically. Mm-hmm. And so because you've given me half hour, I'm not pressured to try to talk in 3 to 5 minutes and get all my points across.
Right.
So my point is dip your toe in the water and get in radio, put your words in print, but do something to make some noise because folks are waiting on you.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the reasons why Miss Free and I, kind of pushed with Blaze Entertainment. When we first started, we just wanted to, have a safe space for us to just kind of talk and jam and, be, just talk about life and whatever. Yeah. And it ended up, when people started liking the show and a buzz started, being created with it, we started doing more research into the podcasting world, and we realized there wasn't a lot of Black voices within the podcasting world. And so we wanted to be able to, we feel that it's important to have Black voices and people of color speak from their experiences on a platforms, and it's important for us to be able to say those things and say what we're feeling and express those things, because there's not a lot going on out there, you know what I'm saying, in terms of those platforms being utilized.
Right. And that's what you did. You did exactly what I teach my Mavericks and my noisemakers. Make some noise. People are waiting for you. You just got to show up and be loud enough for them to hear you.
Yes. Yes.
And I think, like, for me, it's more of like a way to get my truth out and my experience.
Yeah.
And it turns out a lot of people agree. So that's
Right.
also their truth. I'm just trying to speak my own truth and my own experience in that. And it turns out me and Kwame have helped a lot of people, you know?
Yep. Kudos
Mhm.
and bravo to you for stepping out and being that voice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very much
you.
appreciate that. Well, because I think you know, in the beginning it was kind of nerve-wracking because, you know, you want to be authentic. You want to, you know, speak your truth. However, you know, especially in this political climate and the social and this racial climate, we have to be careful how we present ourselves. We have to be careful about what we say and how we say it. And I think that because of our authenticity and because we've connected with other people who are like-minded and kind of get what we're saying, that was encouraging in and of itself, because it was like, oh wait, we're not alone. You know what I mean? There's other people that feel what we're feeling, and somebody else was, you know, their spirit was touched because of it. And I think that that's important. And I think for those, you know, kind of, you know, piggybacking off of what you were saying, for those who are out there who are introverted or who don't feel like their voices are not important, you'll be very surprised how many other people are thinking like you, how many other people feel what you're feeling. And if you don't say it, you could be somebody that's going to bless somebody else's life. And because you're holding it in, because you're not utilizing your gifts, it's just going to go for naught. And I think that right. You saying what you're saying and you being so excited about what you're doing and helping others teach, you know, or helping others by teaching how to focus their energy and focus their gifts is so commendable. So thank you for doing that, number one.
Yes.
My pleasure. I couldn't even stop. I couldn't stop doing it even if I tried. I'm going to explode if I don't be. If I am not my natural, authentic, transparent self, like I posted I've disappeared for social media for about a month. And so I just posted a post on Facebook, you know, telling people where I've been, because so many of my followers had just, you know, were concerned about me. And I just told them the truth about what's been going on with me. And that post lit up on fire, because so many people are thanking me, of saying, thanks for being honest. I feel that way too. And it's because people, we want to walk around with, you know, thinking that we got it all figured out. I was like, no, I don't know what the heck I'm doing over in this joint.
Right?
But what happens, Kwame, is when you actually say that, you get people raising their hands going, but I know how to do it. So
yes. Say that again, please.
Because if a closed mouth does not get fed.
Amen.
Right? Your little ego sitting over in your house struggling, trying to figure some stuff out, can all be prevented if you just open up your mouth and tell the truth.
Ooh, ma'am, listen.
Your heart, because people are suffering in shame because they feel like the only one. And I'm clear, the one call that God has on my life is I will always tell you what I'm going through, because I am committed that no one will ever feel alone in my presence.
Ooh.
Ever.
Ooh.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, you can tell when I really go in. Sorry about that.
No, don't you apologize for speaking all the truth.
You start stepping into where my passion is. We've been talking about my expertise. You started asking me where my passion lies, and you tapping into my calling. There's a whole other side of TeeJ that comes out when you start getting me to talk about my calling.
Well, you know what's funny? I'm actually, and you know, I'm unfortunately we have to, you know, end the show, because I would love to speak to you forever right now, because you're dropping.
You just gotta have me back.
Yes, ma'am. That's first of all, that wasn't even a question. I'm already over here putting you on the calendar for the next couple of months, child. Listen. But no, what you just said, you know, in regards to, you know, not just being authentic in your growth and even in your journey, was really important, because, and it hit home for me, and I'm sure it's going to hit home for Miss Free once I kind of tie it all in, is when we first started out, we had zero clue what the hell we were doing. We came out and we said, you know what, we're just going to have a show, and we're going to have a space where we can talk about what the hell we want to talk about, how we want to talk about it, and and just have our own space. And of course we did, research on how to build a podcast and what, it takes, the basic things that you're supposed to learn. Beforehand we had planning phases. We had a bunch of meetings in preparation for the first episode of Blaze Entertainment. However, when we first started and we launched, we didn't know how to market the show. We didn't know where we were going to go with it. We just were putting out content, and that's all we were going to do. And we were just going to be real on it. And because we were so real, we actually got a little bit of backlash, not only from Trump supporters, but also from people who have been podcasting for, I don't know, maybe decades. You know what I'm saying?
Girl, you know what? I don't even listen. I don't see the haters.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Delete and block. Anyway, but we got a little bit of backlash from it because they didn't understand how in just 6 months, next month is our 1 year anniversary for Blaze Entertainment. And thank you.
Thank you.
But yes, but even in 6 months, nobody really understood, or a lot of those, people who have had podcasts for a year and a half, or 2 years, or 3 years, or even more, weren't getting the numbers, or weren't getting the kind of buzz that we were getting when we first started. And I think it's because they were so busy trying to be like a radio personality, as opposed to just being them. You know what I'm saying? We didn't originally, we've totally evolved. We listened to our very first episode, which I actually am going to do in a couple of days, because I want to just kind of see how we've grown. But if you listen to our I know, right? Listen to our very first episode to our most recent episode, we've transitioned like how we structured our segments, how we, interact with each other, how our bond is when it comes to introducing the show. We've grown tremendously. And I think that it's important, kind of going back to what you're saying, that authenticity, people will hit and see and will focus on it. If you stop trying to be like somebody else and just be you, people will love you more for it. People will respect you more for it. And so that's why I appreciate you, Miss TeeJ, because you are just all and everything. It's like you touched my heart tonight.
That's sweet. May I give you something that will tie this all in, and I think it will be a good way to end the interview. Well, yeah, it'll be a good way to end the interview, I think, because it just hit my heart what you said. So do I have permission to tell you what that is?
You don't need permission. Yes. You just say what you need to say, ma'am.
So one of the things, because, anytime we're going to do something that is game changing, has like global impact, we always hesitate. And so even when I started Mavericks, which, by the way, your listeners can go to IamANoisemaker.com and get a free gift to get them started on making noise in the media.
Yes.
So go to IamANoisemaker.com and you'll get 7 videos from me that will start breaking down the acronym of noise and really start getting you going. But when I first started Mavericks, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, like you. And I kept getting ready to launch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always, I'm getting ready to launch. And finally one day the Holy Spirit said to me, it's time to leap. And leap, I knew immediately, because, when God gives me a word, he'll put it right in my spirit so hard, and I'll know immediately he's going to give me an acronym for it. And so he gave me the acronym for LEAP. And LEAP is L, listen and get clarity from your creator. Listen and get clarity from your creator. E, expect fear. It's coming. Anytime you're doing something big, the fear is coming. Expect the fear. A, activate your faith. Right behind the fear, activate the faith and know that you've listened and gotten clarity from your divine. You've expected the fear, and then activate the faith and stand on what God has already done in your life and all the other times he's come through. And so once you've listened, once you've expected the fear, then you've activated, the last thing to do is P, pursue. Pursue with all get out. And that's what you guys did. you actually were just like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to do it to the best of our ability. And we're going for it. And you just took a leap off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And because you took the leap, lives are changed because you took the leap without figuring, just knowing that at some point either a net is going to appear or we're going to start flapping our wings and we're going to fly.
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's going to happen.
Right.
And as a result, you're getting ready to celebrate your 1-year anniversary. So congratulations, guys.
Thank you
really.
so much.
I mean,
Thank you.
that's my heart. Congratulations.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
And
much.
I know you already mentioned it before, but I want everybody, before we close out, I want everybody to be able to find you, all of our Blazers to be able to find you. Where can we find you on social media? Websites, all that jazz.
Let's keep it real simple. Just go to IamANoisemaker.com. That's it.
Yes.
Don't worry about anything else. Start there, and that will lead you straight to getting you some TeeJ in your life.
Yes, ma'am. And let me tell y'all something. Y'all need some TeeJ in your life. If you don't have it, you better get it. Okay.
I wish I could see me. I'm swooning over here. I'm swooning.
TeeJ, thank you so much for joining us on the show. You dropped some heavy gems, and I feel like a lot of people, especially our Blazers, are going to really appreciate it. And I pray that you guys take what you can from it. And if you want more, you go to, like she said, you follow the links, girl. Y'all better go ahead and do it. Okay, don't got time to be playing no games. Just do it. Right? Thank you so much
for coming.
You are more than welcome.
And Blazers, don't forget, you guys can go ahead and check out this episode as well as other episodes of Blaze Entertainment and After the Blaze podcast, our sister companion show podcast with Hope, Giselle, and 50 Shades of Gay. Go ahead and go to entertheblaze.com for this show and more. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back. We out, Miss Free.
Bye.
Bye.